Hello fruit lovers, Ian here, and I'm out here in my food forest, and I was reading a book the other day which shows that this is not a new concept. I was reading a book about old Florida tales, and many of the stories in there they're kind of stories about people going fishing, but there's one really good story in there which, if you will permit me, I will read to you. The book is this is the cover of the book, and I want to read you one of the stories which is of particular interest to those of us farming or trying to grow tropical trees or any sort of fruit trees in Florida. Okay, so this is a story or recollections by E.P. Powell. It's called Our Florida Garden, and so this is the end of probably around like 1890, something like that. Maybe around early 1905 or something like that. All right, let's get on with the story by E.P. Powell. It's called Our Florida Garden. I bought a few acres in Florida at a venture without having seen any part of the state and not having very accurate knowledge of what I had bought. I had only a general idea that some day I might like to get away from the gripe and zero climate, and Florida offered the only chance in sight. 3 years after the purchase, it became decidedly wise for me to take advantage of it. Going southward as if into a foreign land or on a voyage of discovery, I found things very different from what I had expected. My 10 acres were covered at each end with huge pines standing from 60 to 100 feet in height. In the middle there was a ruined orange grove with a wide belt of plums that had died below the graft, making a thicket full of birds' nests. It was a curious place to northern eyes. The ground was full of rabbit holes and gopher turtle holes, and there were a lot of other queer fellows in possession. While all the ground that was not covered with pines was given over to a tall, rank, coarse grass 7 or 8 feet high. The turtles would come out at midday, lugging their houses on their backs, to dine on almost any vegetable matter, but always retiring into their holes before sundown. Up from the lake also came water turtles and snapping turtles, wobbling about clumsily, but giving visions of future soups. I grubbed out most of the orange stumps and grafted the rest. There was little to do with the plums but to grub them also, and to do it very thoroughly, for the ground was full of roots. Under the pines at the ends of the lot were innumerable young oaks and persimmons. Oaks at half a dozen sorts, the willow and the scrub and the blackjack being most common. A few water oaks could be selected for making future trees, and the blacks were very beautiful and carefully trimmed and kept free of moss. The persimmons were of the native sort, some of them probably barren, but they were good stock for grafts, and we filled them full at once of the Japanese sorts. We grubbed out the oaks, excepting a few of the better sorts, and we pulled the moss from the smaller trees. The moss is one of the curious features of the landscape to us, but it is something of real importance when it hangs down in long tresses from the tall pines. It does away with the necessity for weather vanes, as it will tell you precisely and volubly which way the wind blows. The front 2 acres with their 50 huge pines, after the underbrush had been cleared out, was a superb building lot. It overlooked Lake Lucy, a lake about half a mile across and as pretty a piece of water as you could ask for. Facing it from the east, it gave us such sunsets as I've never seen before. These 2 acres or thereabouts I intended to clean up and make into a lawn, something like what we have in the north. When I began to inquire about grasses, I found very few of our northern varieties would thrive here at all, not liking either the soil or the heat.